if a debt collection company is trying to come after you for a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you do not have to do a debt validation. I repeat, if a debt collection company, and I'll adjust that statement. If a debt collection company or the original creditor is attempting to collect a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you do not have to do a debt validation. I get that question asked of me all the time, and mainly I think the confusion comes about it's two things. It's rare that you owe a debt and there's a time that you don't have to pay it. Like it really is rare, even though that there's companies that are buying literally hundreds of millions of dollars worth of debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect. There are still so many accounts that are out there, literally billions of accounts. And so it would still be rare for an individual to sometimes have an account that is past legal statute of limitations, or you might have one or two accounts if you have multiple accounts that would be past legal statute of limitations. So when the person gets that information and they follow my instruction to go look and see if that debt is past legal statute of limitations, and they find out that it's past legal statute of limitations, this is what happens. It's like a football player who either scores their first touchdown or who celebrates just all over the board, all over the field when they score a touchdown. It's because they know they got it. And I think what happens with a lot of people when the debt is past the legal statute of limitations and they know it. Now, some people don't know that it's not past it. I'm not talking about that group of people. I'm talking about the group of people who know that it's past the legal statute of limitations and they still do a debt validation, and it's because they know they got the debt collector by the you-know-what, or even the original creditor if they just didn't do their due diligence and try to collect on that debt before the statute of limitation passed in their state, that they didn't take them to court or do any type of legal action within that period of time, is that the person knows that they got them, and it's like they're trying to make them go through all of this mess just to get to the point that I always tell people to focus on, which is if you have a debt collection that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, or a debt, it could be from the original creditor or a debt collector. If it's past the legal statute of limitations to collect, there is no debt validation that is required. And if you're trying to do a debt validation, you're just going to make this whole process go on further than it should go on. So forget about making the touchdown. Forget about spiking the ball. Forget about the celebration. Forget about digging in on them because they probably in the past maybe dug in on you. What you need to do is just focus on one thing only, and that's you write a letter stating that they are attempting to collect a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect according to the laws in your state. That's it. I guarantee that they will stop coming after you when you submit that letter. That they will even write a letter, potentially, which has happened for my clients, an apology letter stating that they apologize for coming after you for a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect. Now, to find out if your debt that you have is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you need to keep this in mind. This is a misconception that I see on YouTube and on the different platforms when people are talking about this. We deal with this every day. We've dealt with this for getting ready to go on 20 years for the credit repair shop. I dealt with this personally for myself. with debt that is past legal statute of limitations, every state has a different statute of limitations, and that can be frustrating. So you can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com, or you can look it up online, but I would appreciate it if you go to my website. At the bottom, click on the blog, and then you will type in statute in the search bar, and you will see the updated statute of limitations. They do update this. Credit card debt is going to be in column number 4. Promissory notes and written contracts, which are going to be where most of everyone watching this video is going to be within those 3. They do have it for oral contracts also. So that's where the statute of limitations, if it's past that date, included with the original account charge-off date. So what you do is you look at your credit reports and you look at the original creditor's charge-off date, not from when you started or opened the account, from the charge-off date. That is when the statute of limitations clock starts to tick for debt that is not legal to and let me clarify. They can collect it from you if you want to pay it. They have no legal remedy to take you to court. They have no forcible action to make you pay the debt. So I want to be clear with that. And I think that that's what kind of gets people confused, is because if a debt collector knows that a debt is past legal statute of limitations to collect, and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act allows them to collect on debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, but with one caveat, is that they cannot use any legal means to do that. So you might be saying, well, they're sending you a document, they're sending you a demand letter. That's not a legal remedy. The legal remedy would be to take you to court, to have some type of court action to make you pay it. And what they are supposed to actually do is when they call you, they're supposed to say that they're attempting to collect a time-barred debt. That's what the word that they will use. They won't even say statute of limitations. So they're supposed to say that, so they could be in violation if they don't even notify you that they're attempting to collect a time-barred debt. So you're going to look at the statute of limitations for your particular state, from the charge-off date, from the original creditor, not from when the debt collector placed it on your credit. So if you're dealing with the original creditor, it's when they charged off. And even if you're dealing with a debt collector, it's still when the original creditor charged off that debt. That's when the statute of limitations clock starts to tick. Now, I've had this question come up a lot of times. They said that, well, I moved and statute of limitations benefits me more in the state that I moved from. So can I go off of the statute of limitations for that state? I've seen it, I would say 50-50, where if you constructed your letter the proper way and you stated that the loan origination was in that other state, that 50% of the time debt collection companies will stand by and say, well, we don't want to continue with that collection action. Let me tell you the reason why that could happen. It's because the documents that they're going to have, it won't have your new address on there. It's going to have your old address on there. So they have a problem if they try to take it to court. They're going to be utilizing documents that's going to back up the statute of limitations from your the state that you moved from. Not to say that they couldn't overcome that if you didn't fight them in court, but there's some judges that if you brought that up, they would look at that documentation, and it becomes, when you're being sued in court for debt that is past the legal, for debt, period, and it could be past the legal statute of limitation in another state, but you live in a state where they have more time. When those documents are presented, they're going to be presented from the state that, all the address, everything from the state that you were in, unless you had that account when you moved over into your new state. Now, that could be a whole different story. But if you had the debt when you were in the other state, it went bad, charged off there, changing your life around, moving, got a better job, something, moved to another state, and then they're coming after you, this is the deal, and it can be confusing. They have to sue you where your residence is for all consumer lawsuits unless it's a business debt. Business debt, they could have sued you in the state that you came from. But because you moved to a new state and that was a consumer debt, they cannot sue you in your other state. So if you ever have that happen, you can automatically send a notification to have that case dismissed, because that is a violation. They have to sue you where your current resident. But that also brings up a situation where you're going to have to fight them in court, even though it could have been past legal statute of limitations in that state. They could potentially try to come after you in this state. But I would always tell people to send the notification letter regardless, to just see what they're going to do. We've seen about a 50-50 success rate on where a debt collector just said, hey, we're not going to come after you. And in situations where you do live in the state, or even some of those too, but mainly if you live in the state and they, did it, they'll send that apology letter, because they're not supposed to threaten any type of legal action. And they could have been using a template, and then they're like, oh man, we used a template on this demand letter, and this is a debt that's past legal statute of limitations to collect. We're not supposed to use that letter. We're supposed to use the other letter, notifying them that this is a time-barred debt and we're just trying to collect on it. Not the letter saying that we're going to take legal action if you don't communicate with us and attempt to work out some arrangement to pay this debt. So that could potentially happen. That's why we'll get those apology letters. And yes, the person could have sued them over it, but that again is trying to score and celebrate a touchdown because you got them. Sometimes you just need to move on, and because let that fight end so you can move on. Don't sit there trying to go back and forth and extending the process and trying to step on them and have some type of celebration event. So if you have debt collectors contacting you early, regardless of what type of debt it is, you need to send them a notification. First, you need to check statute of limitations. If it's past legal statute of limitations, you need to send them the notification letter. And I'm going to give you that letter, so don't worry about it. Next, if it's not past legal statute of limitations, you need to put them on record that it's going to be some sort of uphill battle for them, some sort of fight, that it's not just going to be you running. You're going to challenge every document they have. If it's a third-party debt collector, they're going to be wary, because they're going to be like, we better get all our ducks in a row, because this individual is not going to be the default judgment type situation. And and don't worry, I'm going to give you that letter there too. And then if the debt is not past legal statute of limitations, you do need to do a debt validation. That's when a debt validation comes in. So I'm going to give you those letters. The link is below this video if you need to get those letters. Cease and desist collection activities letter, debt validation letter, those two go together. I give you the instruction on those. And the statute of limitations letter, I give you that. You're only going to use one of those three to start your process with dealing with a debt collector. If it's a debt collector or original creditor where the debt is past legal statute of limitations, you could use that same statute of limitations letter for both of those, for original creditor and debt collector. But you got to go through what I told you to check to make sure that you know what you're talking about when you send that letter, and you send that letter certified. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch video What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. And if you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website Your Number 3 Scores to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. Links are below this video. Also, the link to the book, The Real Credit Secrets. Everything you need to know about how the credit system works and how to make it work for you. I created this book. It's a small, it's not too much to read, but I created this mainly, the main reason why is because most people just don't know how the system works. Think about it. If you understood the system, you would make less mistakes. You will be able to utilize the system better, because anything that you know and understand, you know how you can use it to benefit you better. Like, and I'm not talking about where you just go out there and get loans, or knowing how to make your payments, all of that stuff. That's stuff that's always covered out there. I'm talking about knowing how the system works. I'm talking about not settling for, and I'm not saying that this is a bad score, but settling for a score like a 750. I'm talking about getting into the 800s, 834, like where I'm at, 834. I'm talking about understanding how to use your credit in a way to where you can have access to capital for anything that you want to do. Not to say that I want you to do that, I'm saying, or you should do that. I'm saying if it ever came a time where you needed to utilize capital to do something, if it's either to buy a house for your family, if it's to start a business, a legitimate business opportunity, not just no fly-by-night stuff that you see all over YouTube and Facebook and all those and all that stuff. No, I'm talking about something legitimate business, or legitimate coaching service where someone will coach you, like something like that, where you just need that capital and you're going to take it serious. You're going to take that knowledge and you're going to do something with it. That's what this tells you. It talks about that, and my 4 free bonuses, which I do not have in my hand right here. I think I got them right here. There we go. And the 4 bonuses. So you can get all of this. Now, I'm going to have a deal where very soon, when you sign up for services, I'm going to get that to you. You'll be able to see that link. But right now, you could just purchase this, purchase the book outright with the bonuses. It's well worth it. Or you can also get it for free. And I have a offer where you can see how you can get it for free if you sign up for my membership service. And that in that side of that membership services, that's for you, the do-it-yourself people. A lot of people want to do stuff themselves. They want to learn everything and do it themselves. That's the top course that's out there, because it's built off of what we do here every day at the Credit Repair Shop. So thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments, share this video. This is Stephen A. Williams.